Hello everybody, welcome to Wine World TV, the best wine show anywhere. I'm your host, Mark Fusco. Now, before we get started, make sure you hit that smash that like button, and subscribe to the channel. Every like and subscription really helps build the channel. You know what else? Tell your friends about it, about the best wine show anywhere. I didn't even have the teleprompter this time. I still screwed it up. Anyway. I read it every time, and I still mess up when I read it. I've got Joel Quigley here. He's visiting San Antonio. This is awesome. I actually get to interview somebody here instead of having to travel somewhere, though I'm sure if I make it out there, I will stop by.
Please.
And this is going to be a Freestyle Friday video, so if you've been watching my videos about farming practices and the wines that come from them, figure we'd take a little bit of a break and we'll talk about some really cool wine and that's out there. And yeah, so Joel, kind of tell us who you are and kind of how you got here.
Yeah, well, I'm Joel Quigley,
yeah.
And I'm the director of marketing communications for Lloyd Cellars and Prescription Vineyards. Right now, we're on our what we're calling We Love Texas tour, and so we're in San Antonio and going up to Austin, and then later we're going to be at the I can do this. We're going to be at the Texom.
It's like being in a band, you don't remember what city you're in, right?
Man.
We can talk about that stuff another time.
Jeez, yeah, I just blanked on the chorus, man. But yeah, we've got a lot going on in Texas, and specifically really getting the word out about our Prescription Vineyards label. So excited. This is my first time in San Antonio.
Yeah, I meant to ask you that. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's really cool. I mean, I've done, in my career, way back when, I was the executive director of an organization called Wine Brats, and some of the more mature folks out there might remember that. But that was actually started by Jeff Bunchu from Gunlock Bunchu, John Sebastiani from the Vianza side of the family back then, Sam's son. And then this is kind of a full circle thing, is Mike San Giacomo from San Giacomo Vineyards. And Rob Lloyd, who is our winemaker, has worked with the San Giacomos for many years. And in fact, Rob Lloyd in the past has been behind some of the most successful Chardonnay producers out of California.
Nice.
And yeah, so his Lloyd Cellars Chardonnay is, it has such a hardcore following. And so that's kind of that relationship and that connection through the San Giacomos and all of that. And through all that time, I mean, back in the day with the Wine Brats, we did a lot of stuff with, our concept was to demystify wine and to bring wine to American culture.
Right, yeah.
It wasn't like, oh, okay, young people, come over to the wine culture. So we were doing crazy things. I mean, we did national tours with Elle Magazine and Universal Music and Food and Wine Magazine, American Express. We would take over like the biggest nightclubs in the city, and what I would call them, and we would turn them into vino a-go-go's.
Nice.
We would have, and smooth jazz was banned. Sorry, smooth jazz people. I love you anyway. But that was so ubiquitous with wine.
Right.
And we didn't really think young people wanted to come and listen to Kenny G. So we did acid jazz and trip hop DJs. We did runway fashion shows. We did live performance art. And but we would take over like the limelight in New York City.
Nice.
And these things, they became a hit really fast. And so after all these years, what's really fun, Rob Lloyd is also the winemaker for Jessup Cellars and Handwritten Wines. And Lloyd Cellars and us, we actually share a production facility, production staff. It's a really symbiotic relationship. But Jessup and Handwritten are really almost purely direct to consumer. They have beautiful tasting rooms in Yountville. Just one of the most amazing little towns,
Right.
with just food everywhere, great food, great chefs. So I spent 7 years there, and that was interesting because there was no market work to do. But anyway, last year I moved over and joined the Lloyd Cellars team, and we're virtually all in distribution. We don't have tasting rooms. So that whole world has come back into my life.
Yeah, right.
And so it's super fun. Like, in the past, I did a lot of activations at South by Southwest with Warner Brothers Records and Nikon, right? Bringing wine brands in, doing that stuff. So I'm excited because we're heading up to Austin, tomorrow, and it's so exciting to be back. But the cool thing is that all of those friendships and those relationships back when there was, the Wine Brats with 27 chapters and 45,000 members, all of those relationships and connections have really come back into play and has allowed Lloyd Cellars and Prescription Vineyards to just hit the market running right out the gate. And so that's what we're doing. Tonight we're at this amazing Blue Star Gallery here in town.
It's really cool. Yeah.
Really cool. We've got great food. We're working with San Antonio Current. They're amazing. We have a really cool artist who's a DJ and an R&B singer, performer. So she's going to DJ, but then she also sings and mixes live.
That's really cool.
Oh, she is, yeah. So Allison Alonso, check her out, look her up.
You need to give me all that information, by the way.
Yeah.
Because everything will be linked. Like everything he mentions, I'm gonna link a bunch of this stuff. I mean, something what's relevant, I'll link it. But yeah, I mean, definitely, because I want to give props to people local. First of all, thank you for coming to San Antonio. We get skipped all the time. Everybody goes to Houston, everyone goes to Dallas, and they go to Austin because Austin's a cool place. And it is a really cool place. I want the collars there. If I could move there, I would. But, I mean, I love San Antonio, but Austin's kind of cool. But yeah, we just, every time somebody comes in for a tour, they just go to those three, and we're bigger than Austin. We're a bigger market than they are, but that's the cool.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, they're the cool spot. So yes, thank you. Tell more people to come to San Antonio. Well, we're not just tacos and margaritas.
Oh my gosh. Well, and
you had a good margarita last night though, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We had dinner last night, so I got to try the Lloyd's.
Where we had dinner?
Yes, absolutely. Big on the banks.
Oh my gosh.
Our server was amazing. We had amazing food. We had that venison and quail thing.
Yeah.
You had basically ceviche. I had this like kind of 3 different game meats lettuce wrap, and there was a sweet and a spicy sauce. I did the spicy sauce. The sweet sauce was good. It wasn't my style, but the spicy sauce, hot sauce was really good. Yeah, we had the Lloyd Cellars Chardonnay. That's some really, oh, look at this camera. That's a really good Chardonnay. You should try it. I'm telling you. I know we're going to be doing prescription here. I'm really excited to try this. But that was, I told Joel that was a treat last night to do that, because he had the bottle of wine, or we got the bottle of wine. I was like, I didn't know what we were going to do, and it was Lloyd. I'm like, cool. So Biga took great care of us. It's actually truly my first time eating there, and I've been here for I don't know how long. I've been there for some events in the past, but it's never been like food related. It's all been just like tasting wine.
So it was a big a night?
It is a big a night, yeah, exactly. So, yeah, to give them props.
It was excellent.
I know a few people that do work there, but I didn't see them last night. They might have been around, they just didn't see them. So, but yeah, so if you're in town, or if you live here, you need to go if you've never been there. Anyway, let's get back to what we're talking about here. Yeah.
Sure, yeah. But I will throw this out. Yeah. I mean, one of the cool things, this goes back to the San Giacomo story, is that Rob really does love a lush California Chardonnay, which this is too, but he's really into having a great acidic backbone. And I was telling you last night, one of the cool things about the Lloyd is he sources from 3 different vineyard blocks from San Giacomo, and that's in the Sonoma Carneros. But he sources what they call hens and chicks bunches from Truchard which is Napa Carneros. And these are the little underdeveloped berries. Usually people go through and trim them and drop them and turn them into fertilizer. But he saves some of these because he makes a True Chardonnay for Joel Cellars, which is killer. He takes those hens and chicks and presses them out. They don't have a lot of fruit, but they're loaded with acid. So he uses that for that natural acidity around, down the center, the spine of all that luscious, San Giacomo Chardonnay fruit. And the beauty of that is, we had venison and quail, and this wine, because of that acidity, is so versatile that, you can drink a Chardonnay with venison.
Yeah.
And quail.
There was one thing on the dish, I don't remember what it was. It looked like a piece of pie, and I don't remember what was actually that was.
It was like a little piece of quiche.
Yeah, that was killer with the Chardonnay.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely killer. It was one of the last things I tasted. The venison. So we were talking last night, and we're not trying to get too off topic, but it's still Lloyd Cellars, right? So we were discussing, we know we're going to have Chardonnay, and we're like, okay, and looking at the menu, and the menu is amazing. It's a lot of times stuff will change over time. But there's certain things that are always on there, and I was like, should I get the rack of lamb? It's Australian rack of lamb, or should I get this venison dish? And Joel was like, this thing can stand up to steak. And I was like, okay. And I related a story where when I worked at Fridays, I had a regular. I can talk about past employers. I just don't talk about current employers. Anyway, I used to manage at Fridays, and we had a regular come in, and she would get the steak. It was like sirloin. There was like a house butter we put on there, the Maison butter. And she went to me and was like, I bet it just kills you. I'm drinking Pinot Grigio with this. I'm like, no, drink what you want with it. That's what you like. But the acid and the acidity and the fat from the butter, it all works. Pinot Grigio isn't lush, but there's acidity to it. So we brought the hens and chicks thing, and it worked great with the venison. It worked great with the quail. That quiche thing was, and then it was like a corn chutney or whatever. Or it was a chutney of some sort. It looked like corn. Yeah. And that to me is Chardonnay and corn. Not everybody gets corn. I didn't get any corn on that Chardonnay, but corn and Chardonnay seems to be like something that always happens. Yeah. That story I told you about where I talked to the gentleman about the unpleasant smell and aroma that some of the red wines get. We also talked about Chardonnay and corn. He goes, I never get corn out of that. I'm like, okay, so I must be crazy. But anyway, that pairing was amazing. And so, this is something where you can, if you want to drink Chardonnay and eat a steak, you can. I'm giving you permission to do it because if you like that, absolutely do it. And if you want to drink Cabernet with your tuna, I don't suggest that. But if you want to, or with like mahi-mahi, or maybe like white flaky fish or shellfish, you can. You might taste metallic, but you can. That's what you like. So drink what you want and eat what you want and pair it however you like, because it's all about that.
Yeah, and you can always make it work better with sauces or seasonings and different things like that.
Yeah, that's especially with chicken, or fish. Fish is always made by the sauce, unless it's meaty fish. Yeah. But the sauce makes the fish, the sauce makes the chicken, and pair your wine with that. Like chicken parm, red wine, but it's chicken.
Yeah. Exactly. No, there's all kinds of tricks.
All kinds of tricks, yeah. So we talked about the hens and chicks, and that was a great way to add acidity naturally to a wine.
Yeah, not just dumping in
tartaric, which we won't go down that rabbit hole. But it's a great way to do that, and you're doing it naturally. We'll just put it that way. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a great idea. As a first I heard of it, and that was exciting to try a wine like that.
Yeah, Rob is one of the things he does is he doesn't really follow the same pathway. He's like from his sourcing to like with a lot of the red wines, like his Pinot Noirs are made with subcap fermentation. Okay. So just imagine like a big French press, like a giant open top fermenter with like a French press and screen. Yeah. That pushes the skins underneath the juice. And so there's no need for punch downs. It really virtually, you don't have to do hardly any pump overs. Also, when the skins are underneath the juice, the CO2 from fermentation, all those bubbles mixes the juice
Yes.
instead of getting that cap sealing everything off that you're trying to punch down. So he doesn't, like a lot of winemakers do, extended maceration, all these things. He doesn't have to do that. And it really is very gentle on the wine. And the thing is, when you're doing those punch downs, there's a molecular process that's going on with the wines, especially with the tannins. And when it's under there and it's gentle and you're not touching it, it allows that process to continue. And what it does is it gives you super silky tannins. It also, for whatever reason, I mean, maybe I could ask Rob, but why it retains the aromas. So he has these wonderful aromas in his wines, and that, but it also goes to the sourcing. Like our Clarksburg Chardonnay here with Prescription.
Right.
Now, this is retail $20 a bottle. You know, you can get it in stores; they'll discount it a bit. And
Yeah,
things like
there
that.
might be, you know, there might be a discount here and there.
$17.99.
Yeah, you know, on special for like a month or a couple weeks, right?
But the great thing about it is that he can make a fabulous Chardonnay because he works with a grower, James Reamer. It's Reamer Farms, and their vineyards are at kind of the top of the Sacramento Delta. So you're in the Central Valley. But the cool thing is,
Right.
is that the cool air comes up San Pablo Bay, up the Delta. Their vineyards are like right in the bend of the Sacramento River, and these vineyards actually sit below the elevation of the river. So that cool air comes up, and you know what cool air does? It goes low. And it sits and it drops into that pocket where those vineyards are, and it's just like uber microclimate.
Yeah.
And he's able to grow these grow grapes that are fantastic, you know, because most Chardonnay, the Central Valley is a little hot for Chardonnay.
Yeah.
Let's say that.
Exactly.
But this is this weird little anomaly, and he's been working with James for like 10 years. So when he decided to launch the Prescription project, they just teamed up on this. And I don't know, we should probably taste.
We should definitely taste it. So yeah, I mean, cool climate Chardonnay is kind of my jam. You know, I mean, it's Burgundian in style. I mean, I'm not saying this is Burgundian style, but you're dealing with climate and all that. So
Right.
yeah, I mean, when you get to that super ripe and hot, I mean, it can be fine and it can be absolutely enjoyable, and you're working with 15% alcohol, but you know. And this is not low alcohol, right?
No, this is not low alcohol.
Yeah, but still, it's going to be refreshing. And that's what that cool climate does. It keeps things fresh.
Right.
You can still have that. You can still have a buildup of sugar. You get a diurnal shift. You retain acidity. You increase your sugar, and you kind of get the best of both worlds.
Yeah, and that's what it is. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. Rob loves a big, luscious California Chardonnay. I mean, that's his style, but it's always with a backbone of great acidity.
And it has that. This is a slightly leaner than last night. That last night was definitely lush. You got the lushness here. But yeah, I get, lots of apple on that. Lots of green apple. Yellow apple too. Get the yellow apple skin on this.
Yeah.
Get a little bit of peach, a little orange.
And, you know, the acid that he gets in his wines, I mean, there's like a zing when you taste that first sip. And that's what helps with, so you get that zing and then you get all that luscious, full mouthfeel. And that's too, I mean, you know, this is a little bit of a warmer climate, but, you know, when you balance it right, it's not like, you know, you can really taste the alcohol, but there is a lusciousness that comes with that alcohol, but you don't want it to burn.
It's got a broadness on the palate. You got a fullness on the palate. I think we talked about winemaking last night. You know, I think this goes through almost 100% malo, or goes through 100% malo. So you're gonna get that richness, that lushness of it. This is not the butter bomb, which you can make, and that's a very popular. I don't get tons of butter, but I get a creaminess. For sure. That's what the malo is giving you. Right. It didn't go into the full on where you get like a stick of butter, which again is fine. You know, if that's your style, that's awesome. But yeah, I think this is like, it hits a lot of points that is perfect for a lot of people. And at $20, I mean, you've got an excellent wine that in my opinion, taste more expensive. So I'm not telling you guys you need to start charging 30 and 40, but I think you could charge easily 30, if not 40 for that bottle of wine. And I'm not saying this because Joel is sitting here and I know Rob's going to look at this. If this was an actual review, I would be like, wow, this wine, you could pay more for it and it'd be fine. You know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, like the Lloyd Chardonnay is $40 a bottle retail. Yeah. But, and
that could go for more too.
Now, he and Bonnie Lloyd launched the brand back in 2008.
Okay.
I mean, they have literally not raised their prices. Even though the cost of grapes, the cost of production, staff, all that stuff has gone up, he's held that line. And but I tell people all the time, I mean, the first time I tasted this, I was like, this tastes like a $35 bottle of Chardonnay.
Yeah.
I mean, when I'm doing like, you know, one of the things we do in the wine business, we do comparative sets and tastings, and we look at that of where we are in the market.
I mean, you should.
But we love to overperform at price point. I mean, that's just the way it is. We want to be a great wine and a great value. I mean, that's it.
And isn't that what everybody wants? I want something that tastes just as good for half the price.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I do. I mean, when I look for a wine and I want something that's $20 or under, I mean, sometimes I know it's not necessarily going to overperform. I know it's going to perform exactly where it should. And this also helps to be in the industry and you kind of know who does what, or even if you don't know them specifically, you know the area, you know styles. You can decipher a lot of things. But yeah, when you know, throughout my career, people are always looking for the deal, and some people are just like, I just want the best, and I'm going to pay for it, and that's fine. But yeah, this definitely overperforms.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, the cool thing is I love telling the story about the label because
yes, absolutely. Yeah, we want to talk about that.
So, you know, Rob's the winemaker, but Bonnie is like the creative visual person in their partnership. And when they were looking to have a second label that maybe a little more of a you know, everyday drinking wine.
Yeah.
Right? Well, people would ask Rob, because he had such success at producing Chardonnay with other houses and stuff. It was people would ask Bonnie. They would say, "Well, what's Rob's recipe?" And she's like, "Well, he doesn't have a recipe, you know." But she would hear this a lot. And then one time, somebody brought up, "What's the prescription?" And she was like, "Wow." So she started digging into that, and you know, prescription, it can be a recipe.
Yeah.
Right. We were talking last night about the RX.
Last night. So, and then I had to chime in on my Latin background because I took Latin in high school.
I was impressed.
And I unofficially have a minor in Latin in college. Plus, we also talked about other stuff in college. We have a lot of like stuff in common, which is cool.
Yeah.
We don't necessarily talk about that, but anyway. So RX is what we call it for prescription. That is recipe or recipe in Latin. So when he told me about the recipe thing and prescription, I was like, immediately I thought RX because it makes absolute sense. I'm sure she saw that too.
Oh yeah.
You know, so I was like, it makes way more sense with it because was it having on the back the take two or whatever?
Yeah, take two and call me in the morning.
Take two, call me in the morning. I saw it. I was like, what? What? It got through? It did. But like you said, they explained it.
Yeah.
This is pre-prohibition stuff, and not pre-pro, but the how the thing was and what the label means, and it makes total sense if you know the background of it. It makes absolute sense why the label is what it is. And I think it's so super creative.
Yeah, and the look of the label is definitely back in Prohibition, you could still get alcohol. You just needed a doctor's prescription.
Yeah, they knew remember the prohibition was there. So you had a prescription. Yeah.
So the design of the label that she followed and worked with the designer was basically a 1920s medicine bottle.
Yeah.
And playing off of that. So we love the label, and we think it's a perfect creative complement to this overperforming at price point wine. Yeah. Right?
Yeah, I think it hits on all cylinders. This is definitely a wine that people that are looking for that kind of, I kind of call it a sweet spot with Chardonnay. It's not too extreme on any other. I use the term middle of the road, and that don't mean it's a middle of the road wine, but it doesn't go on the extremes.
It's balanced.
Yeah, balanced. It's a great way to call it. Yeah, balanced. And I think it's a great wine for that. So if you're kind of like, well, I don't like Chablis style, I don't like unoaked, cool. But you don't want the 100% new French oak and like super butter bomb, cool. This is going to fulfill that that need for you, because it's going to hit you right where, really, it's right in the middle. Right in the middle. I mean, it's right in that sweet spot there. I think it's well made. If I didn't like it, I'd tell you. So, I mean, I like the Chardonnay. People who watch my show know that Chardonnay is not my go-to, but I enjoy well-made Chardonnay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I did go to Burgundy, and I had a great time there. I mean, I went to the land of Chardonnay and Pinot. Two wines are not necessarily my go-to, but what did I buy a lot when I left after I came back from Burgundy? I bought a lot of Chardonnay and Pinot Noir.
This is the Friday True Confessions.
Yeah, and my dad was like, I thought you didn't like Pinot Noir. I said, well, I have a lot. He goes, well, I thought you didn't like it. Well, I like it, Dad. It just, I like other stuff too. But man, I still have leftover stuff, Pinot, from Burgundy, but from purchases I made a couple years ago. Still, Pinot more than Chard. But yeah, I do enjoy it. I like all wine. Honestly, there isn't a wine I don't like as far as a grape.
Yeah, as long as it's well made.
In a part of the world. If it came, especially the weirder, the better, the more unusual, I'm all about that. But I also like just, you know what? Give me a Chardonnay, give me a Pinot, give me a Cab, and I am happy. Or a Syrah, the wine we all love to drink. Yeah, but in the business, certain business is harder to sell, but you should drink Syrah too.
Yeah, I would. And the thing is because for some reason people, it can be a little harder to sell.
Yeah,
which is why you should buy it, because you can get there's a lot of value in really well made
killer Syrah for not a lot of money.
Yeah,
kind of like Beaujolais, still kind of sort of Cru Beaujolais. Anyway, yeah, the Chardonnay I think is well made. Shall we move on to the Cab here? Yeah. Also, you talked about taking care of people. I think we had a really cool story about how they take care of their people, and I think they go way above and beyond what other just companies do. And I mean, even wineries, but just companies in general. Can you share some of that?
Oh yeah, I mean, we were talking about like when it's harvest time, which we just wrapped up.
Yeah,
and you should know. I mean, 2020 was a challenge. Really, Napa probably lost 50% of its crop because of smoke taint, because we had these lightning storms in August and the fruit was still out. So, I mean, we definitely, we got really good fruit, but there was stuff that we just couldn't take in.
Right, yeah.
But this year, there were fires in the Sierras and things, but we didn't really get the smoke on the coast and where we were. And so it was a lighter crop this year because of the drought, but oh my gosh, we're getting a ton of rain in California now. Thank God.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but the quality of the fruit, 2021, fantastic. So we're super excited about the 2021 vintage. And but during harvest, one of the things is everybody, you hear the stories about winemakers buying lunch for the cellar crews and the workers and stuff. Well, most that I've ever seen is like they have a special lunch once a week.
Yeah.
Oh no, Rob feeds them every day. And you can imagine being in Napa, and actually where the production facility is, there's a cooperative kitchen across the street where a lot of the food trucks all go, and so he brings food out of there. I mean, he treats his production staff just so well. And then the cool thing is this year is that Bottle Rock came back. If the Bottle Rock Napa Valley Festival. Yeah, so that came back this year, not in the spring, but in the fall.
Yeah.
But he buys all of his crew like VIP passes to the festival, and they're just really, really good, caring people. And he's fun, and he's not pretentious, and
Exactly.
he's super. They're both so much fun.
He told me that story, and I meant to tell you this. So my first trip to Bordeaux, I went to Chateau Fonroque, Alan Moix, yes, related to Christian Moix. I didn't know that at the time, which is, sorry, Alan, I didn't actually know you were part of royalty. But so I'm there, it's harvest. Again, not the best time for somebody like me to visit and get someone's 2 to 3 hours of their undivided attention, but he was gracious enough to say yes, months in advance, actually. And so we had a morning appointment, we do everything, we do the interview, and then he's like, we're going to have lunch. I'm like, okay. I didn't really, this is early on in my career, I didn't do a lot of lunches. I still don't do a ton of lunches when I go visit. But we go to this huge building, and there's these 2 long tables, and one table is everybody working harvest, and the other table is like everybody from the winery. And they made the food. Like there's like, they made food for like, I felt like 100 people.
Wow.
And I was like, and they're like, yeah, we do this every day. During harvest they do it. So, I mean, they reminded me of that and how much that they cared about their people too. And another part of the funny story, and I've told the story probably a few times on camera, there was a woman, apparently every day for harvest, she dresses in a costume. Now, it's September, so it's not Halloween yet, but it's close to October when I'm there. And they also have like the fall stuff going on, almost like they don't do Thanksgiving, but the harvest meal type of thing. It's harvest. She's dressed in a Statue of Liberty costume. When I went to Alan, I was like, not that I think this, but she didn't dress up yet because I'm here. She goes, oh no, she dresses up in a costume every year. I should have gotten a picture with her. I didn't. I was still kind of like, I don't know, but I should have gotten a picture with her because that was awesome.
Well, I think you could have taken liberty.
But yeah, so yeah, I really want to make sure we talk about that story. So let's get into the cab. So tell me some more about the cab here.
Buying wine from good people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. So this is an Alexander Valley cab, Sonoma County, and I love Cabernet from Alexander Valley.
I do too. I will not to name any names, but there are people that make Alex and Napa cabs, and I will take the Alex cab over the Napa unless someone's buying any day of the week because I like what Alexander Valley does to cab versus Napa. Anyway, yes.
Yeah,
I'm excited to try this, so don't disappoint.
All clever. I go both ways.
Yeah.
Okay. So
on the wine.
On the wine. Hi. I'm saying hi to my wife. Hello. No. Yeah. This is really cool because this is from 1,700 feet above the valley, and it's a south-facing bowl. So the west side of the bowl gets the morning sun, the east side of the bowl gets the afternoon sun, and really you get this complexity that goes across this bowl, and it's all the same clone, all that stuff. But a couple years ago, Rob had us taste the wines and he kept them separate, and it was amazing the difference from the east, middle, and west was.
Yeah.
So it really creates a wonderfully complex wine. He's been working with this vineyard for about 10 years, but he decided to take his cut for prescription. This is a small production, but this is basically Alexander Valley Mountain Cab for $30 a bottle.
Yeah, exactly. So you're getting, you told me it's for small production. I mean, we're not talking 20, 30, 50,000 cases. This is not, no.
500.
Yeah, for $30. Like that's unheard of, especially out of California.
Certainly. Land is expensive.
Man, it's very expensive. If you watch my videos, we talk about location. There's a reason why things are expensive. It's there's a lot of reasons why things are expensive, but so there is a little bit of like a cooler climate feel to this.
Yeah.
you've got some great fruit on there. You've got a lot of black and red, mostly black fruit, but a lot of black and red fruit on this. There is a slight touch of a menthol type of thing. I don't know if there's really any pyrazine in it, but I feel like there might be a touch in there, which that is a big checkbox for me on Cab.
Me too.
I love when it happens. I think the 2011 is one of the best Napa Valley vintages ever.
And that's the thing. And the pyrazines really help with aging.
Absolutely.
And I can see this going a long time.
So this has a touch of that. So I really like this. There's a lot of good spice to it. Is there, and that we're gonna get into some inside baseball, and you may or may not have you may not have the answer for me. Is there, which is weird, is there any stem inclusion on this?
No.
Okay, but there feels like there's a little
bit,
a little grippy, a little bit.
In a really good way.
Yeah. It feels like there's a little bit of that. Bramble is a great way to put it.
It's definitely brambly.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean it is stem inclusion. It just means that there is a bit of a bramble, and sometimes that is coincidentally there's a wine with stem inclusion. But I get it from wines that are not. I know there's no stem inclusion at all.
Yeah,
and that's just a technique you can use in winemaking to add some complexity and some other, and it helps aid in fermentation and all that. But yeah, I mean, this comes across as a cooler climate. We're 1,700 feet.
Yeah.
So you get some good diurnal shift. You told me yesterday it's above the inversion layer.
Yeah.
So you're getting all that. Yeah.
What's really cool, the pyrazines there's the spectrum of pyrazine can go all the way from jalapeno pepper to
like mint
But the part I like is the really good pyrazine is when to me it's like a green olive oil. And so that's what I love personally. And I think that this has this just touch of green olive oil.
I see that, yeah.
Yeah, and I think it makes it a great food wine.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about our amazing meal last night, and wine and food is great. Could I drink this on its own? I could drink this by itself and enjoy it. But with food, it definitely would be a better wine. It just helps balance things out. I mean, it's a balanced wine already, but it helps. It is a big and bold wine. So having that food kind of work in concert with it, this I could absolutely just. It's kind of a porch pounder. I mean, honestly, I know it's a bigger Chardonnay, not big, but it's a good lush Chardonnay. But this is super refreshing, and you could totally drink it on its own. And then, of course, with food, I mean, the wide range of food, you can do all the usual suspects. I mean, you can do everything from fish to chicken to pork to probably put some venison with it too. Quail,
I think so.
all that kind of stuff. Cheeses, fruits, all that good stuff. Even a good charcuterie thing going on. If you got some balance with that, this absolutely. Big juicy steak, a stew, pizza, burgers. If you want to do you could do it chicken parm if you want to. I mean, you've got there's enough of acidity retained in this that it will help with the tomato sauce, and just all that kind of stuff. You could totally pair this with a lot of stuff. It's very versatile. I think it's a delicious wine, and $30 I think is absolutely right there. You could probably sell it for 40, maybe even 50. Like you could sell it for higher. You could. With a straight face, you were not no, you could totally sell it for higher than it's being sold for. So I think you're getting a good value out of it too.
Yeah, and the cool thing about this is you could lay this down.
Oh, certainly, yeah.
Yeah, and but right now, too, I decant this.
Yeah, you could totally decant it.
I decant this
couple
wine.
Hours. Yeah, a couple hours. This is totally a pop and pour wine. You could lay it down, decant it. I'm not an expert in aging on wines, but I mean, this is Cab. It got good tannin structure. That mountain fruit, it's going to get that good sunlight. It's going to develop those tannins. So it'll easily be 10 years, probably 15, even 20. I mean, I would love to see what this would do in 10 years, 15 and 20 years.
Yeah, me too.
It would get that more leathery, dried fruit aspect, that earth, It would become more Bordeaux-like, honestly. But yeah, I mean, it would be amazing, I'm sure, in 10 to 20 years. So yeah, it's definitely can age, absolutely. I think the prescription could age too. Maybe not, but actually probably could age 10, 20 years.
I tell you,
It's got enough acidity to it.
So I've had some Lloyd Cellars Chardonnays. A couple years ago, I had a 2010.
Yeah.
I mean,
Stellar,
it
right?
gets honeyed, everything.
Yeah.
But it was spectacular. It was like every sip was like, "Are you kidding me?"
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. And again, I think a lot of that goes to the acidity and all. But this is a special little cab for $30 a bottle.
Yeah, I mean, I know for a lot of people, over $20 is a lot of money. $20 is that sweet spot, that people like to hit, because anything above 20 is expensive, and I think 20 is technically luxury wine or whatever. Forgot what it was. I mean, I went through all the prices. I went through all the whole price ranges, a few weeks ago.
Sure.
About from value to icon and what those prices are. It was kind of funny, like $200 and above is icon. I'm like, what about the $1,000 bottle of wine? What do you call that? Like icon, like times 5 or something? Unattainable. Like
Unattainable.
DRC. Like I'll never buy a bottle of that. But if you want to buy me a bottle, call me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, $20 is that sweet spot. But if you want to go just a little bit better and go $30, and you're getting a wine that will drink better than a $30 bottle of wine, and I think that's something you could do. Maybe this is your Friday or Saturday night wine, I wouldn't say call it special occasion wine, but maybe you're like, it's a Friday, Saturday night. We're going to kill the bottle.
We're going to grill some steaks.
If
you're spending that money on a ribeye,
get some Wagyu ribeye, some, what like A5, whatever, ribeye, and you throw this with it, and maybe you're going to ball out a little bit more. You buy like 2 or 3 bottles, have a couple friends over. The steaks will be way more expensive than the wine, but that's awesome. But that would be great, right?
Yeah.
Like you could totally, up the game a little bit. Maybe this is your daily drinker. Maybe this is your $30, but yeah, it's my daily drinker. I know people that is their daily drinker. I know people that say, I just want something under $200. I'm like, can I come over?
Yeah.
Like I'll be there. When's dinner? Because I'll be there right now.
Right now.
Because I'm gonna give you this wine and we're gonna go have it.
Yeah.
But whatever your budget is, there's a wine for it, and these wines are in that good budget thing for a lot of people. Especially, red tends to be, people have a perception of red should be more expensive. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't. But at $30, I think it's well priced. I think you can totally do this if you want to make it a Tuesday night wine with your burgers or pizza. Absolutely, you could do it. If you want to say, we're going to do the $15 cab tonight on Tuesday or Wednesday, and we're going to do the $30 cab on Friday or Saturday night, type of thing. Yeah, totally. I think it's well made.
Oops, I just lost my microphone.
Uh-oh. So I'll talk
I'm not trying to be too sexy here.
So I'll try to talk a little bit more while he gives.
Yeah, I'm too sexy for my mic.
Actually, this microphone will pick it up too, but. Anyway, yeah, I think it's a well-made wine. Yeah, absolutely.
It's pretty cool. I mean, yeah, you're not going to find Alexander Valley mountain cabs for $30 a bottle.
Yeah, I'll probably edit that part out anyway. Not that part.
Yeah,
we're just talking about like. I'll edit so that the audio will be okay. At least I think it will be. I don't know. Yeah, this is a well-made wine. I appreciate that you. Are getting to see me, not because of me. I'm like, you're taking the time out.
No, it's great to connect.
Like, glad you're able to see me. Like I'm some like pompous like dude. No, like I'm appreciative. When I got contacted, I was like, yes. Can I do an interview too? Like, yeah, because I always ask if I have an opportunity to meet somebody. I'm like, can I do an interview? Because that's what I do. I mean, I can totally come in and do trade event and taste the wine and go to a dinner, go to a lunch. But because of what I do media-wise, I don't do written content. So I have to do I don't have to, but video is what I do. So when I get approached by a PR firm and like, especially, hey, we can give you a piece. I'm like, I don't take outside content. But when I do these types of things, I try to make sure I do video. Sometimes it's like an event, I'll Instagram everything, but I want to do a recap of something. I want to show video. I want to show that I was there having a great time and talking, doing commentary on it. Not just I went as a media person and they did not get any value out of me being there. Granted, the coverage might be 3-4 weeks later by the time I edit everything and everything's scheduled. But the point is that when I do media events, as a member of the media, I want to give them value and not just be a mooch or whatever, like just be like, well, I got a free whatever out of the deal. I'm
Sure.
like, no, I want it to be where there's a value for value type of thing.
Right.
Yeah, I think we covered everything. Unless there's something that you want to bring up that maybe we didn't. I think we covered all the highlights. Honestly,
Yeah, I think so. And he'll put stuff up. It's like prescriptionvineyards.com, lloydcellars.com. And if you look at our news feed, our news features, we have a lot of stuff going on.
Cool.
You might want to know for the holidays with Lloyd Cellars, we're doing a really cool thing with celebrity chef and cookbook author Bob Bloomer, who is also known as the Surreal Gourmet.
Yeah, we're talking about that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so we're doing a really cool thing for the holidays. He's had 3 shows on TV Food Network. He's an amazing friend. And Rob Lloyd is a pescatarian. He's a fish eater. Maybe I should just call him a fishmonger.
A fishmonger? You all know I don't like fish, so.
Yeah.
But I would drink, but he was talking about, I'll drink all the wines though.
Yeah, you'll drink all the wines. So our wines, and being that, our wines are all vegan.
Oh yeah, that was something we didn't talk about that. Yeah.
Yeah, our wines are all vegan, and we're taking a play off of the Feast of the Seven Fishes. We're secularizing it.
Right. Yeah.
We're going to have fun. So starting like Thanksgiving, we're going to do one fish recipe from Bob Bloomer each week, and his stuff is super fun. We thought, after everything everybody's been through, let's lighten it up. Let's have some fun. Like I just got one of his recipes is fish on the Barbie, and
Yeah.
So there's actually Barbie in her Christmas outfit with the shrimp all around, shrimp hanging off her arms.
Send me the picture. I'll put it up.
I'll send it to you.
Okay, yeah, send me the picture. I'll put it up. That way you see what it is, because it was shrimp on the shrimp on the Barbie. Okay, good. And then I saw, I was like, Barbie, got it. That's creative. I love that. That was awesome.
So we're going to have a lot of super fun recipes, and we're going to focus on that pescatarian thing.
Yeah.
And, his tilt that way.
Cool.
And but yeah, we're doing a lot of fun stuff all the time, and get on our lists. And I mean, we're going to Chicago next.
Yeah.
And we're launching we've got a new signature event for Lloyd Cellars. Bonnie definitely, she came from the fashion world, so there's that influence. You'll especially see that in the Lloyd label. Excuse me. We're launching a new event in Chicago called Ferments and Fashion.
Okay.
So we're doing trunk show, wine tasting, DJ in a loft.
Make it fun.
On Michigan Avenue.
Yeah.
So
make it fun, right?
Yeah, we're having a lot of fun. We do music with we have a signature event with Prescription called Friday Eve Live, which is Thursday night.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So it's jumpstart your weekend with wine and music. So we do a lot of work with artists. We support artists, and that's so if you want to find new musical artists, do that kind of thing. We work with a great company, A&R Worldwide, discovery and development firm that helps artists be discovered and develop their talent.
Cool.
They're fantastic. I mean, in their past, they've done Dido and Katy Perry and Keane, and I mean, just the list goes on.
Right.
Oh, somebody called Adele.
Adele, I've never heard of her.
Just that. So we work with we have a partnership with them. So we work with a lot of their emerging artists, and it's a really, really cool partnership. So join the party.
Yeah, cool. Let's bring music in here again. Okay, you all know I do music. I didn't do any music references, not that I always do it, but these wines are you just EQ'd everything just right. You can hear the hi-hat. You can well, the snare always you can hear, right? But
we talked about that.
He's a drummer. I'm a keyboard player. We're not starting a band or anything, but the hi-hat's coming through just right. You've got the bass player. You're doing it just right. Everything's balanced and it's EQ'd just right, and everything's there. You can pick apart the wine, and nothing is over the top. Nothing is nothing got EQ'd too hot or not too hot. for the whole song. Like maybe you focused in on one aspect of the wine, and that's maybe the solo going on, maybe the guitar solo, maybe the lead guitar is like burning through a riff, or the bass player got his solo, right? You know, or me, the keyboardist, got the little thing going, because we always get ignored. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, we talk about balance, and both these wines have that balance, and you can. When I listen to music, sometimes I just listen, just like you drink wine, just drink wine. But a lot of times, if I'm in the right mood, I will listen to the music itself and listen to what's going on in the song. And I will sometimes, not because it was EQ'd that way, but if it's EQ'd just right and you can pick apart every part, and it doesn't have to be pop music, it can be orchestral, any type of song.
Right.
You can hear the individual parts and you can follow them along. When it's all muddied, when it's been EQ'd really bad, or you know the sound engineer has a beef against the bass player, and you can't hear the bass player, that's not a balanced wine. These are balanced wines. So I had to throw that music in because we're both music people too.
The Lloyds love music, so yeah, that's perfect. So I think that's a great exit.
Absolutely. All right, folks, we're going to wrap this up. Again, as always, please make sure that you're hitting that like button, hitting the subscribe button, tell all your friends about it, because that's how we're going to build the channel. I mean, you're going to see this a few weeks after it, but I hit 400 subscribers finally. I know it doesn't sound like a lot of subscribers, but for me, going from last year to this year, 13 months, and gaining, I think, 140 subscribers. I think it was 136. Anyway, 140 subscribers in 1 year compared to the prior 11 years what I was at. That's a huge increase. Any business would take that percentage increase, and I'm taking it. And so help me get to 1,000 by the end of next year, because that's the goal. I reached my goal for this year between 400 and 500. So get me to 1,000, and then get me to 4,000 watch hours, and then I can make $5 a year from YouTube. All right, that's gonna do it. Check it out. Get yourself a good prescription, because it's gonna cure what ails you. All right, you can have that for free.
Thank you.
See you later.
Cheers.
Cheers.